Hi and welcome to my latest video. Right, so first one we done was a cat photo app, second one was the build cafe menu, and the third one was building a set of coloured markers. Right, and I think we were on 70 or 71, so we'll go for 70. Now that the markers have the correct colours, it's time to build the marker sleeves. Start with the red marker. Inside the red marker div, inside the element, create a new div element and give it the class of sleeve. Right, so inside the div element, create another div, backslash, closing div, and you can move that down if you want, and then class equals, so we're making them classes so it'll link with with the sleeve basically. So it's in CSS, a class will link with whatever this is called between the inverted commas. So a class, so say a class, and then in CSS you've got a period or a dot to link the class with the sleeve. Okay, let's see if that works. Right, so move on. So we're linking the class with the sleeve. We're linking the CSS. So create a new CSS rule that targets the class sleeve I was saying. So dot sleeve, which we've just called it, parentheses or brackets, the width is 110 pixels, semicolon, the height is 225 pixels, semicolon, move on. To make the marker look more realistic, give the sleeve a transparent white colour. First set the sleeve element's background colour to white. So again, background colour, same as we've done in all the rest of them, and just type white. We don't need hexadecimal or any other colour, or any other value, sorry. Opacity or opacity, I'm not sure. Opacity or opacity, whatever way you want to say it. Opacity describes how opaque or non-transparent something is. For example, a solid wall is opaque and no light can pass through. That's easy for them to say, but a drinking glass is no. But a drinking glass is much more transparent and you can see through the glass to the other side. With the CSS opacity property, you can control how opaque or transparent an element is. With the value 0 or 0%, the element will be completely transparent, and at 1.0 or 100%, the element will be completely opaque, like it is by default. In the dot sleeve or class or dot sleeve CSS rule, set the opacity property to 0.5. So opacity colon 0.5 semicolon, and don't forget your semicolon, and then you'll see it's changed. Right, so another way to set the opacity or opacity for an element is with the alpha channel. Similarly to opacity property, the alpha channel controls how transparent or opaque a colour is. You've already set sleeves opacity with a named colour and opacity property. Opacity property, but you can add an alpha channel to the other CSS colour properties. Inside the sleeve rule, remove the opacity property and value. So just highlight, delete, and then you'll see it's missing. It's white again. Oh, you're already familiar with using RGB red, green and blue function to set the colours. To add an alpha channel to the RGB red, green and blue colour, use the RGBA, so red, green and blue alpha function instead. So red, green and blue RGBA function works like RGB function, but takes one more from the 0 to 1.0 for the alpha channel. So basically it's RGB red, green and blue with an alpha channel. So it's red, green and blue. So we had red the last time, green the last time and blue, and now we're going to add an alpha channel. An alpha value between 0 and 1.0. and then you'll see that change. You'll see as we go. You can also use an alpha channel with the hex HSL, hue, saturation and lightness, and hex colours, the hexadecimal. You will see how to do that soon. In the dot sleeve rule, use the RGBA function to set the background colour property to pure white with 50% opacity. Here we go. So background colour colon, so RGB, but this time we add in A brackets so red. What did it tell you what value you red and blue and there we go. So it's 255, but they didn't tell you, but anyway, 255. I think you're just a guess, and 0.5 for the alpha channel, and then don't forget your semicolon, and you'll see it's changed. Right, your sleeve is looking good, but it would look even better if it was positioned more towards the right side of the marker. One way to do that is to add another element before the sleeve to push it to the right. Add a new div with the class cap before the sleeve div element. So before that div, put another div with a backslash for a closing div, and then just to let you see it, put class equals cap, this time cap. So we're going to have a CSS, so create a CSS rule to target cap. So dot, don't forget your dot, cap, parentheses or brackets, whatever you want to call them. Create a new CSS rule to target the class cap, and the new rule set the width property to 60%. So width colon 60%, 60 pixels, sorry, 60%. Height colon 25 pixels. 25 pixels. And moving on. It looks like your sleeve disappeared, but don't worry, it will still be there. What happened is that your new cap div has taken up the entire width of the marker and is pushing the sleeve down the next sleeve to the next line. This is because the default display property for the div element is block. So when the block elements are next to each other, they stack like actual blocks. For example, your marker elements are all stacked on top of each other. To position two div elements on the same line, set the display property to inline block. So display. No, wait a minute, hold on. To create a new rule, target the cap and sleeve classes. So it's dot cap, comma, dot sleeve. Now don't forget your comma, bracket or parentheses, display colon inline block, and see the block, which it does automatically, obviously. Semicolon, and then you'll see the sleeve's back. Right, so mind it's dot cap, comma, now don't forget your comma, dot sleeve, display brackets or parentheses, display colon inline block. Right, in the last project you learned a little bit about borders and border colour property. All HTML elements have borders, though they are usually set to none by default. With the CSS you can control all aspects of the element's border and set the border on all sides or just one side at a time. For a border to be visible you need to set its width and style. In the dot sleeve CSS rule, add border left width property with the value of 10 pixels. So border left width colon 10 pixels semicolon. Right, borders have several styles to choose from. You can make your border a solid line, but you can also use dashes or dotted line if you prefer. Solid borders are probably the most common. In the sleeve CSS rule, and the border left style property with the value of solid. So this time it's border left style, stereo width, colon solid. semicolon, and you see a solid black line. Your border should be visible now. If no colour is set, black is used by default, but to make your code more readable, it's better to set the border colour explicitly. In the dot sleeve CSS row, add border left colour property with the value of black. So border left colour listing, and spell colour like that, because if you don't, it won't work. Don't put a U in it whatever you do. Semicolon. Right, so the border left shorthand property lets you set the left border's width, style and colour at the same time. So here's the syntax. So example, border left width, style and colour. So instead of doing border left width 10 pixels, we put 10 pixels at the width. We put border left style solid, and we put the colour as black. So in the .css rule, replace the border left width, border left width, border left style and border left colour property with the border left shorthand property. The values for the width, style and colour of the left border should be the same. So border left colon 10 pixels, we don't need commas, solid and black. Sometimes you need commas, sometimes you don't. Semicolon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all that, take it away, and that should be it. Hey! Right, your marker is looking good, but to make it look even more realistic, you can change the border style to double solid borders. From border left shorthand, change the border style property from solid to double. So just change solid to double. Then you'll notice two black lines. The black colour of your border looks pretty harsh against the more transparent sleeve. You can use an alpha channel to lower the opacity of the black border, or opacity. For the black border left shorthand, use the RGBA function to set the colour value to pure black with 75% opacity. Now, right, so I was like, myself, where did you put that? No, it's RGBA 255, 255, 255. Oh no, it won't be. Oh no, it might be actually. I didn't tell you, 75%. If it's no, we'll find out in a minute. Right, so that's not how to do it. So your dot sleeve rule should have a border left and the 10 pixels double, RGBA 00. So it's 0. Alright enough, it's black. 0. I'll give that a thought. 0. And it's 0.75 instead of 75%. It's the same thing, 75%. Right, awesome. Your red marker is looking good. Now all you need to do is add the cap and sleeve to the other markers. Add a cap and sleeve to both the green and blue markers. You can just copy the div elements from the red marker and paste them into the two markers. Right, so we need highlight that, Control C, inside the green div, inside the blue div, just Control V, Control V. The last thing you'll do is add a slight shadow to each marker to make them look more realistic. The box shadow property lets you apply one more of the shadows around an element. Here's the basic syntax. So box shadow, offset X, Y, and then the colour. Here's how the offset X and offset Y values work. Both offset X and offset Y accept the number values in pixels and other CSS units. A positive offset X value moves the shadow right and a negative value moves it left. A positive offset Y value moves the shadow down and a negative value moves it up. If you want a zero value of 0 for any or both excuse me, I got a peanut stuck in my throat. Well, A bitty one. If you want a value of the 0 for any or both offset X or offset Y, you don't need to add a unit. Every browser understands 0 means no change. The height and width of the shadow is determined by the height and width of the element it's applied to. You can also use an optional spread radius value to spread out the reach of the shadow. More on that later. Start by adding a simple shadow to the red marker. In the red CSS rule, add the box shadow property with the values of 5 pixels for the offset X, 5 pixels for the offset Y, and red for the colour. Right, so we'll just copy and paste that, I think. Just copy and then Control V, and then we need 5 pixels. Oh, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, and red for the colour. And then you'll see like a shadow behind the first one. Right, as you can see, you added a simple red shadow around your marker that's 5 pixels to the right and 5 pixels down. But what if you wanted to position your shadow on the opposite side? You can do that by using a negative value, offset X and offset Y. Update the values for the box shadow property and offset X to minus 5 and minus 5. So this time we just put a minus, not a plus, equals minus, and then you see it going to the other side. So notice that the edges of the shadow are sharp. This is because there's an optional blue radius value for the box shadow property. So box shadow, offset X, offset Y, blue radius, and then the colour. So if a blue radius value isn't included, it's default to 0 and produces sharp edges. The higher the value of the blue radius, the greater the blurring effect is. In the green CSS rule, add the box shadow property with the values of 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 5 pixels for the blue radius and green for the colour. Right, so again we just highlight the whole thing, highlight it, Control C, and put it below that, Control V, and then it's, what is it, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, and green for the colour. Right, so 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, and green for the colour. Right, so your green CSS rule should have a box shadow shorthand property and with the values of 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, and green. Okay. So box shadow, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, and green. Right, okay. Right, I don't know what I've done here. Done wrong, sorry. So, green. Unless you need to take that out. But don't quote me on that yet. No, it's not that then, so don't do that. So wait a minute till we see. So, wait a minute, what? 5? Right, I've got to take Control C. Control V. Oh. So 5, no, minus, no. 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, and green. Semicolon. I know what I done the first time. That's what I done the first time. I don't know what was wrong. 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, and green. Or did I do a different colour? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. But what if you wanted to expand the shadow out further? You can do that with the optional spread radius value. So now we've got a blue radius and a spread radius. Like blue radius, spread radius defaults to 0 if it isn't included. Practice by adding a 5 pixel shadow directly around the blue marker. So in the blue CSS rule, add the box shadow property with the values of 0 for the offset, 0 for the Y, 0 for the X, 0 for Y, 0 for the blue radius, and 5 pixels for the spread radius, and blue for the colour. Right, so just again, hopefully you've still got it in your Control C, Control V. Hopefully you've still got it. If you've not, just got them, copy it again. Just copy it there. Highlight it, Control C, Control V. Right, so what we want to do is Control V. So we want to take that out. So it's 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 0 pixels. I'm going to go back that way. 0 pixels, 0 pixels, and 0 pixels. So 0 pixels, 0 for the Y, 0 for the X, sorry, 0 for the Y, 0 for the blue radius, and 5 pixels for the spread radius. And blue for the colour. And you see the difference with the red there. Right, moving on. Now that you're familiar with box shadow property, you can finalise the shadow starting with the one for the red marker. In the red CSS rule, update the values for the box shadow property to offset X, offset Y, 0, 0. Blue radius is 20 pixels, plus spread radius is 0, and the colour is red. Remember that you don't need to add units to a 0 value. Huh? Right, so 0, 0. So 0 for the X, 0 for the Y, 20 pixels for the blue, 20 pixels for the blur radius, space, spread radius 0, space, and colour red. Way! And you can see you got a shadow, a red shadow at the back. Right, next update the colour value of the red marker's box shadow property. Replace the name colour with RGBA function using the values 83 for red, 14 for green, 14 for blue, and 0.8 for the alpha. So replace, so next the colour value. Alright, I see. So take red out, space RGBA, put, brackets. So 83, comma, so red 14, comma, green 14 for blue, comma, and 0.8 for the alpha. So it's box shadow 0, box shadow 0, 20 pixels 0, and then take the red out, it's RGBA, brackets, mind your brackets, and mind just don't forget your semicolon. The shadows for your green and blue markers will have the same position, blur and spread. The only difference will be the colours. In the green and blue CSS rule, update the values for the box shadow properties for offset X, offset Y, blue radius is 20%, right, and the green and blue colours for now. So what we can do is we can just go back up there, Control C, oh no, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. No, hold on. One thing here. So 0 for Y, 0 for X, 0 for Y, 0 for the blue radius. 20 pixels in blue. And again, we need to change the box shadow, so it'll be 0. Oh no, I know it is. Right. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 20 pixels. And 0. Oh yeah, that's not how to do it. So 0, 0. Oh. 0, 0, 20 pixels. And 0. And blue. Right, so 0. Oh yeah, you don't need the pixels. 0, 0, 20 pixels. 0 in green. But hey! Yabba dabba fucking do. I've got it. For the green Marcus block shadow property, replace the name colour with a hex colour, hexadecimal coloured code. Hex colour code. Use the values 3B for red, 7E for green, and 20 for blue, and CC for the alpha for channel. Right, so for the green marker box shadow property, replace the name colour. Also, replace the colour with hexadecimal. So hash 3, control B, get a capital B, 7, control E, capital E, 20. No, so 0, 20 pixels, 3B, 7E. Oh, of course, control C, control CC. Sorry, shift CC. So 2 capital C's basically. Finally, for the blue markers block shadow property, replace the name colour with HSLA. So hue, saturation, lightness, and alpha function. Use the value 233 for hue, 59% for saturation, and 31% for lightness, and 0.8 for the alpha channel. And with that, you've set the colour markers complete and well done. Right, so finally, so HSL, oh no Z, L, A, brackets, 223, comma, space, 59% for light, for hue, comma, 31% for lightness, comma, and 0.8 for alpha. And that's us done. Whoa! We've fucking completed it. Yabba dabba fucking do. Haha! Thanks very much for watching my latest video. I'll go into that eventually. Okay, thanks very much for watching my latest video. It's all appreciated. Thank you, bye.